Jedi are being murdered.
I didn't do it! Please believe me!
I sense something. Oh.
Star Wars: The Acolyte, 2-episode premiere June 4th.
Hello? This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to my pretty much long overdue at this point, episode 1 of the Acolyte recap / review video. We are going to be discussing a number of different things that you might have missed throughout this episode, different references, Easter eggs, all of that great stuff we're going to be discussing throughout today's video. And of course, we're going to go ahead and we're going to hop right on into it. Before we do, though, however, grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, as we're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars-related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today. I think it already goes without saying that, well, yes, of course, there are spoilers ahead here for the Acolyte Episode 1, probably Episode 2 a little bit there as well. We'll probably discuss a little bit more of that as well here on the channel, or at least in this video. I'll have a whole nother video here on the channel, though, however, discussing all about Episode 2 of the Acolyte. And so, in this video, we are going to be taking a quick read from one of my favorites out there, dorksideoftheforce.com. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there, as well as an overall garnering source. So, Star Wars: The Acolyte is finally here, diving into a brand new era for the first time within live action. Well, except part of the Mandoverse, that's technically a different new era that we haven't really seen all that much, but we're going to go ahead and recap everything that you might have missed in Episode 1, titled Lost and Found. We open with the traditional Star Wars crawl. Well, not all that traditional, but the Star Wars text that you know and love, explaining that the galaxy, Jedi Order, and the Republic are in a time of prosperity and peace. However, there are dark side forces emerging at play, and one lone assassin seems to be seeking revenge against a number of different Jedi. We open on the planet named Uda, where a young woman assassin, played by Amanda Steinberg, enters a village. She pays a local to tell her where the Jedi is. The assassin enters a cantina filled with patrons. Searching the room, she sees Jedi Master Indara in the corner. The assassin commands Indara to attack her first, however, Indara simply refuses, and the others at the table turn, look, and will laugh at her. They go to her into a fight scene. The assassin in turn attacks first, and the surrounding patrons that were laughing at her in the cantina. Indara goes on to join the fight to, well, bring the peace to it, easily parrying the assassin's blows without pulling her lightsaber, yet, at least. Master Indara only uses the Force and asks the assassin who's trained her. The assassin leaps up to the second floor of the cantina, again pulling up into civilians to lure Indara up to her. Indara follows, wanting to keep these assassins safe, of course, saving the patron as she calls on her comm about an assassin that's in this cantina. On her comm, she's talking to probably the Jedi Order, or at least other Jedi that are nearby, probably. After another round of different blows and more fighting, Master Indara seems to disarm the assassin and even unmasks her. Indara instantly recognizes this young woman. Her name is May, and she's a twin. The assassin says that she's there to kill Indara as revenge, shoving her with the Force. Also confirming that May and Indara are both Force sensitive, of course, but more specifically and importantly, you would think, is that May is actually supposed to be Force sensitive. As the assassin flings her knives at the Jedi Master, Indara goes on then to finally pull out her lightsaber, slashing the blades out of the air. Indara tries to talk her down from this situation still. The assassin counters that a Jedi does not pull their saber out unless they're prepared to kill. This makes Indara lower her blade as the assassin readies her next assault. The assassin shoots one blade down towards the barkeeper at the first floor. When Indara stops the blow with the Force, the assassin's second knife finds the Jedi Master's heart. Indara crumples to the ground as the assassin leaves her body behind. The assassin prepares to kill the barkeeper until she sees a child. Instead, she simply walks away. We then go on to see Osha, also played by Steinberg, who is this other twin of May. She awakens in her bunk and is greeted by her little droid named Pip. She gets dressed and meets with her other crew member, Philip, who pokes fun at her for not going out with them the previous night. However, she's coy about it, where she was, and doesn't give him an answer necessarily about what she does on her days off anyway. She and Philip don spacesuits to repair the shields on the ship that she's working on, which is under the Nemodian Trade Federation, also seen in The Phantom Menace, throughout the Clone Wars, and everything throughout the prequels. The captain is quite impatient at how long it's taking, of course, saying that these mechanics are disposable. Osha shoots back over the comms that they can hear the captain in a playful manner. While they're still repairing the part outside of the ship, another valve blows, setting a small fire. Osha moves to fix it. The flame triggers a memory in her of a calling for a girl named May, her twin sister, of course, as we find out, as well as her mother. Screaming is happening in the background of this memory, but Philip snaps her out of it, and she puts out the fire. This is also just then of where a Jedi Vector ship, the fighter ship used by the Jedi Order during this time period, comes out of hyperspace and goes to board the ship. The Modanians are not quite happy about to see the Jedi there. Jedi Knight Yord Fonder and his Padawan, Tasia Lora, enter the ship's bridge to greet these Nemodians. They're looking for Osha, who was a former Jedi at the time. When the captain tries to bluff that they definitely don't have any mechanics aboard the ship, especially human ones, because it's illegal for them to work in these dangerous conditions of space, Yord sees through it anyway. He begins to do a Jedi mind trick on the captain, but another bridge crew member points the Jedi in the right direction anyway. Osha returns to her room, where Yord is waiting. The two clearly know each other from their past, as Osha greets him in a friendly manner, congratulating him on passing the Jedi trials to become a Jedi Knight. Osha seems to have left the Jedi Order 6 years prior. She was brought in when she was around 8 years old, almost too old to be admitted, similar to Anakin Skywalker. Also, Osha was in mourning after losing her mother, sister, and the village in a fire. However, Jedi Master Soul had brought her to the Order so that she could be trained. They do finally go on to tell her that they're there because Master Andara was unfortunately murdered by someone who had matched her description quite exactly. Apparently Osha had a bit of a stressful past with Master Andara, but Osha says that she would never have wanted to kill her though. She was on the freighter the previous night anyway, so she has an alibi. Tasi brings in the barkeeper, who quickly identifies Osha as the assassin. With that, they go on to actually arrest Osha. We jump over to Coruscant, where Jedi Master Soul is leading a class of Jedi younglings. Jedi Master Vanastra Rao enters the room as the younglings share of what they see in their meditation. One child sees a fire consuming everything around them. He dismisses the class and, greets Vernestra. Bit concerned about a kid seeing fire, but okay. Anyway, she brings grim news that they've found a new suspect in the murder of Master Andara, a dear friend of Soul's. It's Soul's previous Padawan Osha, which shocks Soul greatly. We can also see that Osha, having ever wanting to harm Andara as well, he simply believes that this is a mistake. It just doesn't make sense. Seems to be a tense time. Vanessa doesn't want it to be known that a former Jedi Master has been killed another. This would be fodder of the Order's political enemies as well. Soul gives Vernestra support in this master to bring justice against Osha. And so, back on the prison ship, the other convicts try to convince Osha to join them in a prison escape. The ship is piloted by droids, so it shouldn't be too hard to take them out and, steal the escape pods and make a go for it. Osha simply refuses, having faith in the Jedi and that they'll find her innocent. The other prisoners laugh at her. They start their prison escape anyhow, dropping out of hyperspace in an asteroid field. The ship takes quite a bit of damage and a couple of hits as the other prisoners free themselves by ripping the arm off of a droid passing by. They don't see to free Osha in the process though, leaving her behind and, laughing at her. So while now stuck in this prison cell by herself, Osha taps into the Force, trying to pull the droid toward her droid, Pip. She can't though. She hasn't used the Force in quite some time and won't be able to tap into it as easily as you may think. Luck is on her side though, as Pip slides towards her while the ship turns and twists through the asteroids, hitting them. Using the capabilities of her droid Pip and how he can weld, she frees herself and runs towards the escape pod. Pausing in the moment though, she takes a pity on the other violent prisoner left behind. Freeing him, he shoves past Osha and takes the final escape pod for himself, yelling all in the process, going crazy of course. The ship is cornering towards a planet, breaking apart in the atmosphere atmosphere. She buckles in and rides out the crash. Back on Coruscant, Sol is visited by his Padawan, Jackie. Vernestra wants to see him before he leaves. She asks if she can see old hollows of Osha to get a better description. He instead gives a lesson on how they meditate on the past so that they don't repeat the failures. Sol meets with Vernestra before he leaves, and it turns out that the Jedi have picked up all of the escaped prisoners who took the escape pods while this ship was hijacked, essentially. They're blaming Osha for all of this, of course. Sol uses the mind trick on one of the prisoners that had helped Osha, and he tells the truth about what had really happened. Vernestra reminds him that one kind action doesn't not clear her of Indara's murder, seemingly. Sol wants to go out and find Osha for himself. Vernestra doesn't like it, but she gives him permission to take a small team with him. He brings Jackie with him, and, well, it seems to be her first mission too. She's ready for it though, and really hopes that it's Yord joining them for the mission. Sure enough, it is Yord joining them. As they arrive onto the ship, he's shirtless and preparing his robes. An awkward, funny moment greeting follows as Jackie tells him to put his clothes on. They leave within 5 minutes, and with that, the Jedi set out to find Osha, who awakens in the wreckage of the crashed ship on the snowy planet of Karlak. We've seen this planet once before in the animated Star Wars The Clone Wars. A shadowy figure appears at the door, quite uncanny if you ask me. It really caught me off guard, walking away and leading her away. She follows the shadowy figure into the snow outside. It turns and it's a little girl who calls her by her name, Osha. Osha calls the little girl May, who was her sister. Well, putting two and two together, they are twins. The scenery shifts around her to her home planet before the fire. It is then a fire breaks out in the trees around her. Osha chases the young May through the Force vision into her old home. Osha is then a young girl of herself, calling out to May and questioning if this is even real. Could May have survived the fire? She begins to wonder. May confirms that she is the one who has killed Master Indara through this strange Force vision. I want to know more about this though. The Force vision begins to break and Osha snaps awake, once again in the crashed vessel with Pip by her side. Back with the Jedi, Jackie wants to know more about Osha once again. She was her master's former Padawan after all. He was stationed on Osha's planet when her sister started the fire that had killed her entire family, he reveals. He took her in as a Padawan after that. Yord steps in, saying that he didn't know that Osha had a twin, and Jackie confirms that information wasn't in her file. Sol shuts down any thoughts of that this could be May after all, as she seems to have died in front of Master Sol during the fire. It is then of when the Jedi arrive to the planet of Karlak and head down toward the planet. Osha hears their ship incoming and runs to hide. Yord doesn't think that Osha could have survived this. Suddenly, Sol gets an idea and races out to the other two Jedi following in tow. Osha slips into a cave, spotting a back exit. Sol and his team are just behind. The exit is a dead end for Osha, who is cornered by the Jedi now. She's very tense right now and is trying to do anything and everything to get away. Sol races to his old Padawan. Osha begs her old master to believe her, that she isn't responsible for these crazy murders that have been going on. Suddenly, she begins to slip off the edge. He catches her, though, with a force. Pulling her back to him, Sol brings a knee down and steadies her. He shows her the warmest smile, and she confirms that May is also alive. He believes her and tells the other Jedi to stand down. Elsewhere, May is on an ocean planet and meets with a dark figure. The figure calls her an acolyte, and the person pulls out their red-bladed lightsaber. This is where episode 1 of The Acolyte, Lost and Found, comes to a conclusion. And I still gotta say it, I mean really, what quite an episode starter, an episode to start off this series, kick it all off. I'm at the edge of my seat the entire time, and especially through episode 2. The stakes are high. That's the thing with this show, and I've mentioned this in our reaction videos here on the channel as well. You don't know what's going to happen, and so for that, everything is at stake, and everything is super interesting. You don't know who's going to kick the bucket. And so guys, so this all being said, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.